Hey everyone! Today we're diving into an exciting time in medieval history, the rise of the Second Bulgarian Empire. It's a story full of battles, betrayals, and leaders fighting for power. Back in the late 1100s, life was tough for the Bulgarian people. The Byzantine Empire ruled over them, and things got worse when Emperor Isaac II Angelos raised taxes just to pay for his fancy wedding. This made two brothers from Tarnovo, Theodore and Asen, really mad. They asked the emperor for land in the Balkan mountains in exchange for their military service, but instead of listening, he insulted them and even slapped Asen. Angry and humiliated, the brothers went home and started a rebellion. They built a church dedicated to Saint Demetrius, and spread the idea that the saint had abandoned the Byzantines to support them. The deeply religious Bulgarian people believed this, and soon the uprising grew. Theodore became Emperor Peter IV of Bulgaria, and with the help of the fierce Cuman warriors from the north, they started taking back their land. The Byzantines fought back, but things didn't go their way. In 1186, Emperor Isaac II tried to stop the rebellion, but his army hesitated after seeing a solar eclipse. Peter IV tricked him by pretending to surrender while Asen went to gather more troops. The Byzantines thought they had won, but as soon as they left, Asen returned with fresh Cuman fighters, ready for battle. The Byzantines sent many commanders to crush the rebellion, but they failed. One general, Alexios Branas, even turned against the emperor and tried to take Constantinople for himself. This chaos helped Bulgaria grow even stronger. The Byzantines tried again in 1186, but their army got stuck in Sofia for the winter, giving Bulgaria more time to prepare. By the time they finally agreed to a truce, Bulgaria was practically independent. In 1190, Emperor Isaac II tried one last time to defeat Bulgaria. But at the Triavna Pass, his army suffered a terrible loss, and he barely escaped. The Bulgarians even took his royal treasure. After this victory, Asen became Emperor Ivan Asen I, while Peter IV stepped back. Under Ivan Asen's leadership, Bulgaria grew even stronger, capturing key cities and defeating the Byzantines again at Arcadiopolis in 1194. Isaac II was so desperate that he tried to team up with Hungary, but before he could, his own brother, Alexios III, overthrew him and took the throne. The new emperor tried to make peace, but Ivan Asen refused unless all Bulgarian lands were returned. The war continued, and in 1196, the Byzantines lost another big battle at Sari. But just when things were looking great, Ivan Asen was assassinated by his cousin, Ivanko, possibly with Byzantine support. Peter IV took action, forcing Ivanko to flee, but within a year, Peter IV was also murdered. Their youngest brother, Kaloyan, then became the new ruler. Kaloyan was different, fierce, ambitious, and out for revenge. He never forgot how the Byzantines had blinded 14,000 Bulgarian soldiers in the past. He even called himself Romanoktonos, or Roman Slayer, challenging the mighty Byzantine Empire. He quickly took control, defeated enemy forces, and even fought off Hungary and Serbia. Knowing the Byzantines would never recognize him as emperor, he turned to the Pope and was crowned King of Bulgaria in 1204. But he had no plans to follow the Pope's rules. He just wanted the title. Meanwhile, the Fourth Crusade shook the region when Western knights betrayed the Byzantines and took Constantinople, creating the Latin Empire. Kaloyan tried to befriend them, but they refused. Big mistake. In 1205, Kaloyan and his army crushed the Latin forces at the Battle of Adrianople, and even captured their emperor, Baldwin I. Over the next few years he kept winning battles, but soon former allies turned against him. Furious, Kaloyan responded with brutal force, punishing those who betrayed him. Just when he was about to win even more battles, he was mysteriously murdered in 1207. After Kaloyan's death, his cousin Borel took the throne, but he wasn't a strong leader. Under his rule, Bulgaria lost land and power. Eventually, he was overthrown by Ivan Asen II, the son of the great Ivan Asen, and the downfall of Bulgaria was not an overnight event, but a slow, painful process, fueled by weak leadership, internal conflicts, and relentless external pressures. After the reign of Ivan Asen II, his young son Kaloyan I inherited the throne, but his regency struggled to maintain control. Rather than resisting Mongol aggression, they chose to pay tribute, signaling vulnerability. This, combined with power struggles among the nobility, led to Bulgaria's rapid decline. Meanwhile, their rival, Nicaea, strengthened its position in the Balkans, avoiding Mongol incursions and expanding its influence. When Kaloyan I died in 1246 at the age of 12, Bulgaria faced a revolving door of rulers, each weaker than the last. The empire's instability allowed Nicaea to seize key cities in Thrace and Macedonia with little opposition, while the Hungarians occupied Belgrade and Branizevo. Efforts to reclaim lost territories came too late. Michael II Asen attempted to regain control by invading Serbia in 1253, and briefly recovering the Rhodopes, but his indecisiveness proved costly. Nicaea quickly recaptured the lost lands, save for Tsepina. By 1256, Macedonia, which had briefly fallen under Bulgarian control, was lost again due to betrayal by Rostislav Mikhailovich, who aligned himself with Nicaea. The resulting instability led to civil war until 1257, when Constantine Tikh, the Boyar of Skopje, emerged as ruler. Constantine Tikh inherited a fragile state and had to face multiple external threats. The Latins briefly seized Mesembria in 1257, while in the northwest, Hungarian-backed Rostislav declared himself Emperor of Bulgaria in Vidin. Though Constantine Tikh managed to reclaim Vidin in 1260, a Hungarian counterattack restored Rostislav's rule the following year. Control of Vidin later passed to Jacob Svetoslav, another noble who, by 1266, also began styling himself as emperor. Meanwhile, the Byzantine Empire was restored under Michael VIII, Palaiologos, leading to renewed hostilities. A major Byzantine invasion in 1263 saw the loss of several coastal and Thracian towns, including Mesembria, Anchialis, and Philippopolis. Unable to mount an effective resistance, Constantine Tikh enlisted Mongol support. The Mongols, however, were more interested in plundering than aiding Bulgaria, and after pillaging Thrace, they retreated north of the Danube. Constantine Tikh's reign took a tragic turn when a hunting accident left him crippled. His wife, Maria Palaiologina, took advantage of his weakened state to influence court politics, worsening internal divisions. Economic struggles and continuous Mongol raids further destabilized the country. By 1277, public frustration boiled over into a massive uprising led by Ivaylo, a common swineherd. Ivaylo's forces won several victories against the Mongols, earning him the support of the people. He then turned against the royal army and personally killed Constantine Tikh, claiming the emperor had failed to protect the realm. Seizing the moment, Byzantine Emperor Michael VIII backed a pretender, Ivan Asen III, and sent an army to install him in Tarnovo. However, Ivaylo reached the capital first and was declared emperor, marrying Constantine Tikh's widow to solidify his rule. Ivaylo's reign was marked by constant warfare. After repelling the Byzantine-backed Ivan Asen III, he had to face another Mongol invasion. Despite his initial victories, the Mongols eventually besieged him in Drastar. With his forces exhausted and his support waning, Ivaylo sought refuge with the Mongols, only to be betrayed and killed under Byzantine influence. This marked the return of noble-controlled rule, with George I Terter taking the throne in 1280. His reign saw even greater Mongol influence, with Bulgaria losing more lands in Thrace to the Byzantines. The instability continued until 1300, when the Mongol-backed Chaka briefly ruled Tarnovo. A brief period of stability arrived when Theodore Svetoslav, son of George I, took the throne. Using a civil war in the Golden Horde to his advantage, he overthrew Chaka and presented his severed head to Khan Takhta, securing an end to Mongol interference in Bulgaria's internal affairs. He focused on restoring the country's economy and subduing disloyal nobles. Those who had collaborated with the Mongols, including Patriarch Joachim III, were executed. The Byzantines attempted to weaken Bulgaria by supporting rival claimants, but they were defeated. Between 1303 and 1304, Theodore Svetoslav successfully reclaimed several towns in northeastern Thrace. His decisive victory at the Battle of Skafida forced the Byzantines to recognize Bulgaria's territorial gains in a 1307 peace agreement. For the remainder of his reign, Theodore Svetoslav maintained stability, fostering good relations with Serbia and overseeing economic growth. Bulgaria became a key exporter of wheat and other agricultural goods. However, tensions reignited in the 1320s as the Byzantines descended into civil war. George II Turtor seized Philippopolis, but his unexpected death in 1322 left the throne vacant. The powerful despot of Vidin, Michael Shishman, was chosen as the new emperor. He quickly launched a campaign against the Byzantines, reclaiming lost territories. In 1324, a peace treaty was signed, cemented by Michael Shishman's marriage to Theodora Paleologina. However, this decision estranged Bulgaria from Serbia, as he had divorced his Serbian wife, Anna Neda. Bulgaria and Byzantium planned a joint offensive against Serbia, but internal conflicts delayed action for 5 years. By the time Michael Shishman finally led his army against the Serbian king, Stephen Dekanski, both sides had similar troop numbers. The battle near Velbazd began under a truce, but when Serbian reinforcements arrived first, they broke the agreement and launched a surprise attack. The Bulgarian army suffered a crushing defeat, and Michael Shishman was killed. Despite their victory, the Serbs did not press further into Bulgaria, and the two sides agreed to peace. Michael Shishman's son, Ivan Stephen, briefly held the throne before being deposed. Though Bulgaria did not lose territory, it could not halt Serbian expansion in Macedonia. In the aftermath, the Byzantines exploited Bulgaria's weakened state, capturing several fortresses in Thrace. However, in 1332, the newly crowned Bulgarian Emperor Ivan Alexander led a counter-offensive, defeating the Byzantines at the Battle of Rusicastro and regaining lost territories. By 1341, Bulgaria was drawn into the Byzantine civil war between John V. Palaiologos and John VI. Cantacuzene. Supporting John V, Bulgaria seized several towns along the Maritsa River and in the Rhodope Mountains, marking its last major territorial expansion. However, this move also introduced a new and dangerous threat, the Ottoman Turks. They had been allied with Cantacuzene, and their involvement in the Balkans would soon reshape the region entirely. As the Ottomans gained power, Ivan Alexander attempted to resist them, but suffered devastating defeats. His two eldest sons, Michael Asen IV and Ivan Asen IV, were likely killed in battle. By 1366, Bulgaria faced threats from multiple fronts. The Byzantines, with support from Western Crusaders, seized several Black Sea towns. The Hungarians occupied Vidin in 1365, and though Ivan Alexander regained it 4 years later, the country remained fractured. When Ivan Alexander died in 1371, Bulgaria was irreversibly divided. His son Ivan Shishman ruled in Tarnovo, while his other son Ivan Sratsimir controlled Vidin. Meanwhile, Dobrotitsa governed Karvuna along the Black Sea. As a result, foreign travelers like Johann Skiltberger described the region as 3 separate Bulgarias. The disunity left Bulgaria vulnerable, and in the coming years, the Ottomans would take full advantage.